I appreciate that you made it, that you wanted to make a point of having us listen to our truth, but I am also curious about your views and your opinions. I know that you seem a little hesitant to.
The only reason it's not because I'm hesitant with my truth. It's just because I want to keep the entire atmosphere here, politic free, and there are people I'm sure from different sides of the aisle, and I don't want to bring any conflicts here.
You seem passionate about it, so it's always.
I think that the main change was from a more Jewish, Zionistic, Israeli standpoint. Once you meet so many good people along the way, regardless of religion, one of the stories that I keep repeating, and Danielle knows it by heart by now, is the story that I got stuck in West Virginia, in Wheeling, West Virginia, and I blew up my engine. I was with less than $1,000 in my bank account. Rebuilt engine cost like $3,000-4,000, not mention a new camper. I didn't know what to do, and I was really looking for a sign of where do I go from here. It was pretty at the beginning, like 2-3 months into the journey, but I knew that I'm not stopping here. And I went online, went into one of the RV groups and kind of posted my issue, and this one guy reached out and say, hey, listen, I'm in Clarksburg, West Virginia, which is about 2-hour drive from where you are. If you can get yourself towed over to my place, I think I'll be able to work on your camper. I have all the tools, I have a garage, and you can sleep at the back, like with your camper in the backyard for free. And this guy, American, grew up Christian but non-affiliated, didn't know anything about Judaism or whatsoever, and he was a disabled veteran with no running water in his house, like the worst condition people in America could live, and he offered his help, and he helped me for close to 6 weeks. I stayed. We thought it would take us a weekend, close to 6 weeks. I stayed over, and we worked on a camper, and I was able to raise enough money, and we changed the entire engine. And he taught me so much, and he didn't care whether I was Jewish or not. And I think that if there's another message that I want to share today, is that we should all care for each other, and even see, beyond our differences, beyond religion, beyond gender, beyond, politics, beyond anything. Just have compassion for our fellow human beings. And I think that for me, this is one of the biggest changes, is that I'm not seeing myself anymore as this individual or this one group of within the human race. I'm just, this part of the universe, and the universe is part of me. We're all connected, and I think that, this is how I see the world today. Any other questions? Yes.
Yeah, you talked about, I saw on the email about looking in, exploring some of the anti-Semitism around the country. Did you experience that, and in what parts of the country? What did you see?
So I explored more of the anti-Israel, the BDS movement, which
What's BDS?
BDS is the Boycott, Divestment, and Sanction group that calls to sanction. And for me, I think that also this is something that I came to learn, is the sort of, there's a differentiation between anti-Israel and anti-Semitic, and we kind of mix it together a lot of times. But I did feel not a lot, but I have instances where I felt foreign hatred. I look Middle Eastern. My family's from Morocco, so I felt at my second day on the journey, I came in Connecticut, in Hartford, Connecticut, and I came to the DMV trying to look up some information, and I was stalled for a half an hour because I was with a big backpack and just a thicker beard. And there was the guard there. He obviously didn't like foreigners, and he stalled me, and eventually he let me in. I went out, went on my computer, waiting for the guy to pick me up, and like 20 minutes later, 2 cops show up and started asking me for IDs. So this is kind of thing that I think also within the Jewish community in the United States, which is predominantly Ashkenazi Jews, I think that we need to recognize, first of all, that not all Jews look alike, that there are black Jews, African American Jews, that there are Mizrahi Jews, Ethiopian Jews, different types of Jews who feel discrimination on basis not just as plain anti-Semitism that we are regular to, but on a deeper and on levels that most of us might not interact or encounter on a daily basis. So I felt more of this foreign hatred at times rather than pure anti-Semitism along my journey. Yes.
When you encounter people with different ideas of the straight that way, or different prejudices that can affect you, how have you been able to communicate? How have you tried to communicate in an effective way?
So one beautiful story, I think, is following the guy that I mentioned in West Virginia. I continued to Cincinnati, Ohio, and to be precise, it was Hamilton, Ohio, which is one of the counties that was hurt most by the opioid epidemic and the entire, steel or crisis, the 2008 crisis. And another guy, we didn't quite finish the work, so there was more job to be done. And another guy, Michael, offered to help me, and so I got there. And he lives in a, 99% white, white nationalist, you would call. So next to him, his next door neighbor had the, Confederate flag next to the American flag on their F-150 on the 1972 F-150 blue, and they just toured around, and they started, they saw me, and so I think that they felt like they needed to make a statement. And so I parked my camper over there, and we hooked the cable connecting to the camper just so I have some light. My mom at the same time came to visit me, and so we left the camper over there to go for Rosh Hashanah in Chicago. And when I got back, he told me, listen, I'm very upset with my neighbor, that they called the cops because your camper is here, and they told me that you can't park here, and so it was like a big deal about it. And just to give you guys an idea, the house next to it was a meth lab or like a meth dealer, but that didn't bother them, more bother than the camper that was standing there. So I was like, okay, don't worry about it. Just don't take it the wrong way. And so they had like a dog that was barking outside, and every time I crossed, I was like, hey, how are you? And just like trying to chit chat with the dog. And slowly we became friends. And when I saw them, I was like waving hello, and so like they were starting to create some sort of a discussion. And then I saw that they had some hunting clothes, and that was before I became vegetarian and vegan, but I was like into hunting, and that I attribute to my wife Danielle. But anyway, so I started talking to them about it, and so suddenly they see that this idea or this concept in their head of what foreign or what this other side is. Suddenly there's a lot of resemblance, and well, like we have like mutual interests kind of. And so we worked on our camper and we were missing the bolt. And so they came in to help us, and suddenly they, brought us a bolt, and yeah, don't worry, we got you covered and stuff like that. And so I think that, we can't fight hatred with hatred. Like, we gotta fight it with love. And I think that, Martin Luther King Jr. said it, and it's so true, because if we're just like, oh, you're ignorant or whatever that is, they would remain or maintain their prejudice idea and their hatred. But when you come with compassion and with acceptance and just, trying to come with love towards all of it, then it's you'd see wonders. Yeah.
I'm just curious, how did you decide where you were going to go? I mean, did you have a plan?
Yeah, I'm very Israeli, so no plan. I decided 2 weeks before, like ahead of it, that I'm going. And I'm also a spiritual person, so I knew that, that the way or the road would show up. And you know how it is. One thing leads to another, and this guy in Massachusetts connects you to this guy in New Hampshire, which connects you to the next one in Maine. And it just, it's the web of life, really. Yeah. Yes.
What was your biggest surprise in terms of whatever expectations you might have thought? What was the biggest surprise?
The biggest surprise is where I'm at today. Like, if you would have told me that my whole views of Israel and of the entire conflict would be where I'm at today, I couldn't have imagined it in a million years when I set off on this journey. So I think that for me, the entire work or surprise or whatever that is, it's internal, even though obviously it's all influenced and is it's based on the feedbacks that you get from society, but all of the changes, the biggest changes that I see are mostly internal.